I'm sure that our foreign visitors would be having an opportunity to savor that after the conference is over. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Honorable Minister of Tourism of Goa, who's here, and it shows the commitment of the state. And except, I think, Mr. Raju and Mr. Dhon and Mr. Braganza, I know all the other people here. Since I have not been, party to what all has been discussed, I requested Mr. Barot to just give a bird's eye view. I would basically like to have an interactive session. I would like to respond to issues which may have been raised. That would be more interactive and more engaging. I don't normally in any case give speeches. I don't believe in speechifying, I believe in action. So I'll just say 2-3 things about the union government's vision on tourism, and then we'll have an open house. I think, I don't know, did anybody here in these 3 days mention about the decision announced on 21st January 2012 by the United States government, but the executive order was signed by President Obama on 19th January 2012. Has that been mentioned by anybody in this session? Did he mention it? Yeah, well, I'm told as a gentleman from Washington DC, this is the order the President has promulgated on the task force. Did you mention it, sir? You did not. So let me mention it. The US gets the second largest visitors in the world, next to France. Last year's figure, I think, is about 62.5 million. France is about 79 million. But the US accounts for 11.6% of the total foreign exchange earnings from tourism. On the 19th of January 2012, President Obama signed an executive order in which he has set up a task force for the tourism sector. And I've got a copy of that order. The thing which is very interesting to me as an Indian is that the President first signed the order and after 2 days he announced it. Here we announce and we may not issue the order for 2 years. So I find that a very interesting thing to learn from. I am mentioning this because according to what the President said, tourism is the largest service sector, and in bad times it has helped the US economy to sustain itself, especially in the services. So as far as we are concerned in Government of India, this realization has started coming only now. And in the 12th plan, we have to see what we get when the financial allocations are announced, maybe by end of next month or early November. But we have asked for our sectoral outlay to be increased 4.5 times. Now, if I don't know what we'll get, but if we get it, it will be nothing less than revolutionary. That's one. The second thing is, our vision framework is honorable, safe and sustainable tourism. In Goa, where I'm sure a lot of issues would have been raised on the coastal regulation zone and the so-called restrictive conditions it imposes, carrying capacity and sustainability are key issues. And India, being a part of the United Nations World Tourism Organization, is committed to sustainable tourism. Safety and honor are equally important, because if a person is not safe and he or she gets cheated, that person will certainly never like to revisit the place where he or she has been cheated, and by word of mouth, you may go on saying incredible India, but as people say, first make it credible, then incredible. So safe and honorable tourism are the other framework within which we are working. And the last point is, very few people understand our federal structure of the Constitution. Everybody looks at New Delhi, where the union government is headquartered, and everybody says, why can't the Ministry of Tourism do this, that, etc., etc. Well, we can do certain things which we are constitutionally empowered to do, but we cannot do those things where we are not having powers. As far as tourism is concerned, the entire infrastructure in terms of roads, accommodation, power supply, management or mismanagement of solid waste, water, last mile connectivity, everything is with the state. None of these subjects fall within the purview of the Government of India. There is incidentally no legislation in the country on tourism. Tourism is globally, even in the US, they don't have a federal tourism department to the best of my knowledge. It is a private sector industry. The state is supposed to be a friend, philosopher and guide, a facilitator and a catalyst. So these are the main vision, mission, matrix within which we are trying to function. And I would now welcome my colleagues on the dais or from the audience, and I will be happy to respond. Thank you. Mr. Pere, I didn't look at you. Let me accord a special welcome to you. Of course, I did mention about UNWTO. I have enjoyed Mr. Pere's warm and cordial hospitality in the very recent past. In June, I was in Madrid for the 93rd meeting of the Executive Committee, and I'm glad he's here. In fact, he had written to me that he's coming here, and I had said I look forward to seeing you in Goa. So now I want not only to see him, but to meet him and interact with him. Welcome, Mr. Pere, a special welcome to you.
The Minister of Tourism had a closed door meeting with him in one of the suites, and when I asked him an open-ended question, I said, what happened behind the closed doors? He, as a government official, said, we'll discuss it over dinner.
He is not a government official. He is an international civil servant, part of the UN. And he travels on a special blue color passport, which gives him a lot of diplomatic privileges, which we don't enjoy. We lesser mortals.
I'll open the floor to any question and answers that you have, either to the Ministry of Tourism or to the association or to the Goa Association. We are all here to discuss and brainstorm and take this forward.
Sir, good afternoon. I'm sorry. Can we? I have only a... So this...
Yes, Raj.
So this is regarding the
just identify yourself.
My name is Rajendra Kelshekar. I'm from Pune. This is regarding the Hunar Se Rozgar scheme. I have a reason to believe that none of us have clarity on it. Hotel Federation has tried communicating that to us. I think we have very less time in order to get that completed, that whole process. But our classification depends on the whole issue. If there is some kind of deliberations between the departments and FHRAI, it will help all of us. And it's something that is worrying us as of now.
I think Mr. Barot will first clarify before I respond.
Rajan, we have a workshop, and there is the initiation of Mr. R.S. Khwaja, in which we've got all of this, and we have circulated that in the news magazine. The news magazine is being circulated at the convention, that's why you don't have an advance copy. We'll work on the entire logistics of Hunar Se Rozgar, how it needs to be implemented. I think the question you want to ask is, why are these figures so high? We have looked at 2016 about 1 lakh and odd Hunar Se Rozgar churnouts, while right now we are only at 27,000.
Yes. Thank you.
See, I'm a bit surprised to hear this observation. In fact, not bit but very. First of all, let me tell you, this scheme is 3 years old. It was launched on, if I am not mistaken, somewhere around the 8th or 9th of August 2009. And in the very first year, we crossed if I'm not mistaken, somewhere around 1,600 plus. I have been in the ministry since August 2010. And last year, we have crossed 13,600 and all. And this year, you are mixing up different sets of figures, so I'll clarify to you. It's not Hunar Se Rozgar. There are 3 or 4 schemes which are there. Under Hunar Se Rozgar, this year, we hope to do, the country taken as a whole, not less than about 25,000. The other schemes which are running concurrently include Earn While You Learn. The third is skill upgradation, skill certification. Classification, and this will come as a surprise to our guests from abroad in particular, classification of hotels in India is entirely voluntary. There is no legally enforceable mechanism. And that's the reason that 98% of the rooms in this country are not classified. Only 2% are classified. So in any case, 98% are outside the net of classification. Hunar Se Rozgar only applies to these 2% classified rooms, which basically are 2-star and above, though there is classification for 1-star also. The objective of the scheme is, it's in fact a very unique scheme. The objective of the scheme is that you, as a service provider, you could be a tour operator, a travel operator, anybody, a hotelier, an adventure man, just anybody. You need people with skills. You do not have those people. The government is giving 100% subsidy for training these people. Today, there are more than 15 to 20 vocations which are covered. And they are very exotic things like camel polo. I don't know how many countries in the world have camel polo. Elephant polo. These are all covered under Hunar Se Rozgar. Because the people who will handle these elephants or these camels, they can be trained. The problem arises is in certification. Who will certify that this man can handle a camel or an elephant? So that is where skill certification systems are being evolved, and the ministry is working for a skill certification council. And that is where the initiative of the trade comes. And I will now give you 2 concrete examples. Jammu and Kashmir, the northernmost state of our country, they asked us for training for golf caddies. We told the association, please come forward. The association came forward, a scheme was worked out, orders were issued, and the training is in progress. In Delhi, in Haryana, they came for women golf caddies, women exclusively. We have organized that training. For security guards, for drivers, we have organized. Our only public sector undertaking, ITDC, India Tourism Development Corporation, has signed MOUs already, memorandums of understanding, with 19 non-governmental organizations, private sector, not public sector, including public sector. Prayas, just to name a few, Prayas, which is headed by a member of parliament, Mr. Shatrughan Sinha. Khushi, which is headed by the former Indian cricket captain, Kapil Dev. They are the brand ambassadors. And my dear sir, Mr. Rajan, this is history. This has not happened yesterday. This has happened 6 months ago. And in today's world, 6 months is history. ITDC single-handedly has taken upon itself a target of training 10,000 people under the scheme. And for friends like Mr. Pere, you know, some of the trades we have identified are really unique. Stone masonry, wood carving, metallurgy. Can there be a wider canvas? On the one end of the spectrum you have camel polo, and the other spectrum you have stone carving. We are signing an MOU, V here stands for ITDC, with a very nice institute in Jaipur called Center for Development of Stones. In fact, I wasn't aware of this institute till till it came to my notice just about 8 weeks ago. I had a meeting with the executive officer. It's called CDOS, Center for Development of Stones. It's a very good center. The government of Rajasthan, the government of Haryana, the ITDC, and the CDOS, Jaipur. So these four parties are signing a common MOU. And let me also name, is there anybody here from Nimrana Group? Please raise your hand. No representative of Nimrana. Well, my friend Mr. Amarnath, I think, is in France these days. Nimrana is the group which has kick-started this HST collaboration with ITDC. They were the first to sign the MOU. And if my memory serves me correctly, it's well over a year ago. And I'm surprised that you say that people are not aware of it. We have been implementing it, and if you are not aware, your association should make you aware. Incidentally, there are 3 websites of the ministry, and I don't remember offhand, but in my folder I have, you can go to your room, make use of the technology, log on to our websites. You will find a lot of information on HST. It's there. I have made sure it's there, I've checked it. And generally on a monthly basis, we are updating. This is another thing which I find very interesting. People ask me very elementary questions on market development assistance schemes and others. They are all there on the website. Now, if people don't serve the website, I get phone calls from people saying, Mr. Secretary, can you help us in this and that? And I say, my first question is, have you accessed a website? Have you seen it? And they say no. Then I say, please see the website. And if you still have questions, we are here to help you. I can show you at least 3 emails which I remember offhand, where very complimentary replies have come to me saying, we apologize that we never looked at your website. It's a very good website. We found that all the information is there. Thank you very much. So I think I have made things very clear on Hunar Se Rozgar.
The only information I'd like to share is incredibleindia.org and tourismgov.in. Atithi Dev
Also there are 3. And all 3. I can give you the date. The Atithi Deva was launched on 4th April, updated. We launched it in Vigyan Bhavan, hall number D, if I remember correctly. And we had a live demonstration. It's a beautiful website. And you know, these are all thematic websites. One of them, the WW India, our Incredible India, is basically giving the governmental. The other 2 are developmental.
So if I'm allowed to say, the other issue was actually the National Council college principals whom I know, they said they have a logistic problems. We have a logistic problem, but I would
I
not
don't
like
think the audience here will be interested in such micro level, audience. I am aware of the problems, but I thought better we look at general issues here. You can meet me separately because I am here for as long as you want me.
Thank you so much, sir. I'll
Thank you,
request Mr. Francis to talk about the Goa issues in a bit. Bharat, just
The one issue which is concerning us is the visa on arrival being extended to Goa. What is the position of the policy as far as the central government?
I think, Mr. Bajanga, your audience is not
You hold it. Hello. The Goa, as a tourism president of the Tourism Association of Goa, I need to get a clarification on the position of the policy regarding visa on arrival, whether anything is there in the pipeline. Is the central government thinking in terms of introducing visa on arrival to Goa or not?
The answer is an emphatic yes. We are not thinking, we are implementing. You will be getting it.
When is it?
That is not in my hands, that the Home Ministry will issue the notification. But the point is, no, let me give you the details. You see, visa on arrival started in our country only on January 1st last year, and it has been extended initially 6 plus 5, so now we have 11 countries. You will be happy to know that between the last year, for the period January to August, as compared to the current year, there has been a 26% growth in visa on arrival in the country. In fact, yesterday only I got the figures for the month of August. And the problems because of which there is delay are twofold. Number one, when you introduce visa on arrival in an airport, you must have the infrastructure physically in place before the scheme is implemented. And along with the infrastructure, you must have the manpower which is trained to handle. If you put untrained people, it will, the experience will not be pleasant and it will not serve the purpose. There is a shortage of inspectors in the Bureau of Immigration. The Home Ministry has announced that they are recruiting people on a crash basis. And the Ministry of Civil Aviation and our ministry, we signed an MOU somewhere in the last week of March this year. And Civil Aviation Ministry has directed AAI, Airport Authority of India, to make available space in the new ports where the visa on arrival will be operationalized. Goa is one of them. The Bureau of Immigration people are still not there in Goa. The Home Ministry is not willing in the first phase to take up where the state police department people are handling immigration. So the first extended phase will be coming to cities like Bangalore and Hyderabad, which are well-equipped airports. They are both greenfield, as you know, and they have space, and right now some training programs are going on. Goa will come in the second phase, but in principle it has been agreed to by the Home Ministry. Supposing I tell you that it will be done in 15 days or 1 month, remember what I started with. I started with Mr. Obama.